Pasamos ahora al
Let's
punto
move on now to item 5 on the agenda, forward through collective bargaining, organizing. And Erwin de Dang will be presenting the recommendation from the Resolutions Committee on motion 1B. Over to you. Thank you very much, Pilar, dear Pilar. And dear colleagues, this motion is presented to you by the Executive Committee. This motion's objective is to work even more closely across all sectors to support and empower affiliates. It means building strong unions and strategically targeting European as well as multinational companies, which are very influential in determining pay and working conditions, as well as setting work practices. Only through strengthening organizing, sectoral bargaining, unions. In turn, UNI Europa and affiliates are fighting for a more democratic, a fairer, and more equal Europe through our organized power. Therefore, if this motion is accepted, organizing efforts will be intensified to coordinate and exchange best practices in Europe and to develop organizing capacity. In Europe, Northern and Western Europe, Central Europe, South, East Europe, the Balkans, and in Eastern Europe, as well as the Caucasus and in the Baltic region. The Resolutions Committee recommends that the motion be adopted. Thank you very much, dear brothers and sisters, for your attention. Thank you very much for your presentation, Erwin. We will be listening to our main speaker now, Chris Stillis from Unite in the UK. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak today. And Sharon Graham sends her apologies that she can't be here. She's in negotiations against fire and rehire, an attempt where an employer is attempting to sack hundreds of our members. I would like to start my speech with a quote from our UNI rulebook. To extend collective bargaining and bring more workers under collective bargaining agreements, this being the best and most effective means of distributing wealth, improving the wages and conditions of workers, and giving workers collective power in the workplace. Let's not forget just how important our right to bargain is. It's the very existence, the very cornerstone of our existence. It is our expression of the collective over the individual and the bedrock of our influence, both industrial and political. Collective bargaining has the power to both redistribute wealth and improve living standards. It's hard to think of another mechanism that delivers so successfully for ordinary working people. However, we all know that collective bargaining is declining. Wages are stagnating, insecure work is increasing. Inequality is rising. Industry 4.0 is here. And of course, the coronavirus pandemic is being used as a cover for employers to implement further attacks on workers, such as fire and rehire. On top of this, we've seen a determined effort by big business and their political sponsors to try and eradicate or at least localise our collective bargaining agreements. In Britain, there are no wages councils left, and sector bargaining of any kind is very small in scale. We need a sustainable plan to protect and extend collective bargaining. Our union has already started to intensify our focus on the workplace and develop our work, voice and pay strategy with the coordination of industrial data, industrial tools for shop stewards, supporting shop stewards to build strike-ready workplaces, and then the further development of alternative strategies such as leverage. Conference, we need a strategy to deepen, extend, and help coordinate our collective bargaining. In our union, we have named this our top 10 strategy. We have identified who the top 10 pay-setting companies are across all sectors. And we've also identified whether we have union recognition agreements, whether we are organised, and whether we are strike ready. These companies could be pay-setting pay up or down. We need to be organised across all dominant employers, as they ultimately set the pace on pay and conditions. Working with our shop stewards, we must plan together and drive through key demands sector by sector. We should strengthen our collective agreements by resourcing focused campaigns to build density, ensuring that we are strike ready in our heartlands. We must extend our collective bargaining to cover undercutting greenfield employers, delivered by dedicated organising campaigns. We can only succeed with effective coordination of our bargaining, and this must be at the heart of our top 10 strategy. Building strong, participatory, collective bargaining must be our core objective. As we have witnessed, COVID gives the perfect cover for employers to inflict mass job cuts. The influx of new technology also. Engaging in collective bargaining at site level or even across a single employer will not deliver the outcome workers want. Equally, neither can politicians come up with all the answers for us. We must drive agreements across sectors, and in doing so, deliver a clear industrial plan that also helps build our political voice and power. Conference, if we do this effectively, we can defend, extend, and rebuild sectoral collective bargaining, build our industrial strength, tackle declining living standards, and help deliver decent, secure jobs for ordinary working people. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to working with our colleagues in building strong organising capacity across Europe.
Gracias por esta intervención.
Thank you for this intervention. I believe that we all share the fact that we should reinforce collective bargaining and unionization. Before we hand over to our Director of Organisation, Erkan Ersoy, for him to give us a general idea of the trade union organisation in Europe, we have a question from Slido so that you can answer. So please introduce the code of the event, UNI Europa FWD, and you'll see the following question. Considering the principle, the key obstacles of collective bargaining in your sectors, your main preoccupation is defending, expanding, or reconstructing or rebuilding collective bargaining? That is the question. Further on, we shall be revising the results of this inquiry, and this is why I ask you to all participate. That's it. Over to you, Erkan.
My name is Erkan Ersoy. I'm the Chief Organizing Director for Europe. I'm going to briefly introduce you our new organizing center called EPOC. Europe's Power and Organizing Center, EPOC, was launched in 2019 to build a lead organizer capacity in northern and western parts of Europe in order to defend, extend, and rebuild sectoral collective bargaining. Colleagues, we all know sectoral collective bargaining is under huge amount of pressure across entire Europe, especially under the veil of COVID. We are seeing fresh waves of attacks, even in countries like Finland, Denmark, and Norway. Bosses are trying to get out of sectoral collective bargaining. Colleagues, we all know no sectoral collective bargaining means weaker democracies, weaker economies, weaker political and social systems. So it is absolutely fundamental and top priority for UNI Europa to defend, extend, and rebuild sectoral collective bargaining. Colleagues, if you are serious about organizing unscrupulous employers like Amazon and many others, we must have joint strategies, tactics. We must coordinate our organizing activities, resources, and efforts in a military precision and military discipline. Without that, we won't be able to deal with anti-union employers like Amazon. That requires strong lead organizers. It's absolutely fundamental, therefore, pushing the EPOC program across different sectors and across different countries. Colleagues, the other aspects of defending, extending, and rebuilding sectoral collective bargaining is based on a participatory vision. We must rebuild participatory collective bargainings, whatever the level we are doing it, whether it is company level, whether it is sectorally, whether it is globally or nationally. We must engage every single worker with their collective bargaining. They must take the ownership. We must build this consciousness and highlight the importance of their economical demands, their collective bargaining, but also the bigger picture of having stable, equal, just society. We are the pillars as trade unions. We are the pillars of strong democracies. Without us, there is no stability, unfortunately, colleagues. EPOC has been running for a few years now, and we have already engaged with many affiliates, with many of you. Me and my colleague Ben Egan is running this program across northern and western part of Europe. So we are looking forward to working with many others who haven't engaged with us yet. And colleagues, I want to thank you for your support and for your collaboration. And I also wish you a very successful conference. And I look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully in physical, face-to-face. Have a lovely conference, and thank you very much. See you around. Thanks, colleagues.
Thank you, Erkan, and good morning, colleagues. My name is Ben Egan, UNI Europa Organising Director. What we want to make this session really about is a celebration of the brilliant work that's been done by UNI Europa affiliates to defend, extend, and rebuild collective bargaining. And we do that by really bringing together affiliates and learning from one another. We have mutual learning, mutual support, and ultimately what we're looking for is mutual growth. Now, none of this is new for us because we do this all the time. Our EPOC network, for example, brings together affiliates on a monthly basis, where affiliates take the floor, share their campaign experience, and get really helpful feedback from other unions who are operating in similar circumstances. We'll be hearing from several unions throughout this session from all the different parts of Europe, but we'll keep coming back to those same 3 points. How do we defend collective bargaining? How do we extend collective bargaining? And how do we rebuild collective bargaining, especially at the sectoral level in these challenging times? So without further ado, I hand over to the first speaker, Heidi, from our Finnish affiliate, PAM.
Thank you, Ben. Colleagues, dear delegates. For a long time, Finland has been a country with a labour market model based on high organizational rate, generally binding collective agreements, and broad consensus of the forums where agreements are made. However, since 2000, this has been increasingly challenged, publicly and systematically, by the employers and the right wing in politics. The Finnish system was built up in the early 20th century. Workers organized and demanded better working conditions. The system flourished from the middle to the end of the century. Union membership numbers grew strongly. More sophisticated centralized negotiating systems were created. Workers' representatives at the workplace got more influence, and the central organization and trade unions influenced not just the terms of employment, but also many other issues affecting workers' status, like unemployment security, pensions, and work safety. Generally binding sectoral collective agreements guarantee the same conditions for all workers in the sector and a level playing field for employers. The union movement sat at the same table as the employers' federations and the government, building the Finnish welfare society. Coming into the 21st century, the broad consensus that had made all this possible began to break down. Union membership numbers were going down, and politicians and some employers' federations were challenging the traditional agreement system. We moved to purely sectoral negotiations of collective agreements with no tripartite input. The global change had also reached Finland. Service Union United PAM started tests of more robust workplace activities in 2013. Since then, strengthening workplaces through organizing has been part of our strategic activities. The readiness of members to fight for their own terms of employment had been worn down because of the tripartite system, where members did not need to be so active in defending their own terms of employment. Since 2017, PAM has been developing a model where systematic workplace organizing is part of the preparations for collective agreement negotiations. The objective has been to reach a larger group of workers in a sector, involve them in defining the objectives for the negotiations, and commit them to possible actions to achieve them. Our organizing work is based on increasing the power and strength of the union, one workplace and one worker at a time. The role of the union's organizing personnel is to train workplace shop stewards, health and safety reps, and other activists in organizing their own workplaces. In practice, in the first stage of activities, workplace activists collect responses from workers at their own workplaces as to what they would like to change in the collective agreement and what actions they would be prepared to take that forward. In the second stage, workplace activists ask workers to sign a petition on behalf of the objectives collected from previous surveys. Between and during these actions, there are thousands of one-to-one discussions and meetings at workplaces. And during the last negotiations, workplace readiness for the actions increased by around 20% during these two actions. The justification for the existence of the union movement comes from the mandate given by the members to negotiate and improve their terms of employment. To preserve this mandate, the union movement must consult the will of its member and act accordingly. The union movement is built by brave workers, and it will be kept alive by brave workers. We believe it is essential for the entire global union movement to work in this together. The companies operate globally, and so should we. We strongly support UNI Europa's organizing efforts now and in the future. Thank you.
Una notificación que nos pasan desde el Comité de Credenciales.
We've been sent a notification from the Credentials Committee that they're revising the documents, so we need to verify the membership quotas and the following delegations. We have Force Ouvrière in France with 500 members, one delegate, the Greek trade union with one delegate as well. I'd like to recall that you need to go onto the platform and reply to the question that I reminded you about just a short while back. The continuation will be listening to Ulrike Laux from the IG Bau, Germany. Ulrike, you have the floor.
Dear colleagues, wishes of solidarity and mutual support from Germany. We are fighting together for better working and living conditions for our workers. Today, I want to inform you how we have been tackling this for the cleaning workers and the building cleaning trade for several years. In 2014, we decided to involve as many cleaners as possible in the demands we made. This also means that they could shape and implement the collective labour agreements with us. They took to the streets together with us and fought for their rights. We have the instrument of collective agreements, which we deem to be of high quality and very important. In 2015, we fought for higher wages and against high-speed turbo cleaning because cleaners have far too little time for cleaning. This was successful. Thousands went on to the streets and demonstrated, and we were able to conclude satisfactory agreements. 2014 was the next opportunity. Equal wages all over Germany was our goal, and a significant increase in wages, because the income is very important for cleaners. They come from the low-wage sector and urgently need the money to be able to shape and finance their lives as well. In 2017, we achieved equal pay in East and West Germany. We held a lot of demonstrations to obtain this and also took action in public and above all in the companies. It was again the workers. The demands were coming from the workers because they supported us in everything. They helped us decide on matters, and in the end they were delighted about equal wages in East and West. The next opportunity for us was in 2018 already. We wanted a new framework collective agreement, new rules for holidays, regulations for bonuses, improvements for our people. We terminated the framework collective agreement and had to negotiate for 11 months, and we still had no result. The employers were not reasonable at all. Then at the end of 2019, we went on strike for a fortnight all over Germany. Cleaners took part in large numbers, and after the demonstrations and actions, that was the next level to be reached, and that was what we set out to do. We were able to strike, and that was a very important thing. We succeeded. We got a new framework collective agreement with substantial improvements for our cleaners. For part-time workers, they had the right to new employment, full-time contracts, if they wish so. And for all workers, for all employees, 30 days of leave. Supplements had to be increased as well. We came out of this bargaining round proud and strengthened. And what we were able to see is through the participation of workers, thanks to active members in companies whom we support with seminars. Thanks to that, we were successful. We have seen that it is only that way we can get the best collective agreement. We are proud of that. We are moving out of the low-wage sector. Our workers have good collective labour agreements, which we will build upon in the coming years. I wish you strength to take on new challenges, the energy and the necessary strength to successfully implement collective labour agreements. Wishes of solidarity to all of you, and I wish you every success in your actions. Thank you.
Well done for the work you've been conducting in such a complicated sector, such as the cleaning sector. And let's move on. We now give the floor to Rafael Tomasiak from the Organising Director in Central Europe. Rafael, you have the floor.
Dear colleagues, my name is Rafael Tomasiak, Director of UNI Europa's Foundation, Central European Organising Center, or COS. COS has been established in Poland with focus on Central Eastern Europe as a result of implementation of a resolution on organizing, changing Europe by growing unions, adopted by the 4th UNI Europa conference in Rome. When we set up to work 5 years ago, many people thought it is a great idea, but not many thought it can be achieved. Today, we have nearly 20 organizers in 5 teams working across 6 UNI sectors in 3 countries, directly supporting 10 affiliates and indirectly many, many more. Our activities resulted in many new unions established, thousands of new trade union members, and thousands of workers being trained in organizing and other skills. This is a great achievement. COS has also proven to be effective in inspiring and supporting modernization of existing unions, including facilitating the very first in our region automated online joining systems for affiliates in Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary. All organizing campaigns and all new unions built increase the coverage of collective agreements, but some of our work had direct positive impact on building or rebuilding of collective bargaining. One of them was our active role in UNI Finance-led support for OSPPP affiliate in Czech Republic, in the successful campaign to rebuild sectoral collective bargaining. Another example is UNI Europa graphical and packaging-led organizing effort with ZZP Union in Poland, where we were able to build union organizations in 3 key multinationals, Smurfit Kappa, MPS Westrock, and Amcor. And in all of them, workers have already achieved good collective agreements. This paved the way for sectoral coordination between unions and also provided blueprint for a similar capacity building effort with NYDSZ Union affiliate in Hungary, which started at the end of 2020. In the last 12 months, our work has been adapted to the circumstances we all faced in the pandemic, but never stopped nor lost its pace or intensity. Our organizing campaigns have been implementing digital organizing and consistently innovating the use of social media and other digital tools, greatly contributing to development of skills of organizers in COS within UNI as a whole, and further skills and capabilities of UNI Europa's affiliates in our region. We went digital and online to overcome the obstacles of lockdowns and growing trend of remote work. But also we used the potential of new tools to reach to more workers than ever with our trade union message. Care sector during coronavirus pandemic has been described as a crisis within crisis. It has become even clearer now that care work makes all other work possible. It is foundation of our societies, and yet largely unorganized, leaving care workers' voices unheard. It has been in our focus to be out there, reaching out to care workers from day one of the pandemic. And the responses that we had were mostly, yes, we are ready to organize and want to bargain collectively for much needed improvements. Thank you for reaching out. We didn't know where to go to or how to start. Now, both in Poland and Czech Republic, the unions we have helped build during pandemic have been growing in membership and also achieved the first bargaining wins, including crucial life-saving working conditions improvements. Moreover, these unions see the need for campaigning for systemic change that can only be delivered with sector-wide agreements and changes to legislation. We see potential, great potential for things to come with this movement. COS continues to work closely with UNI Europa sectors to help affiliates grow the structures, membership, capacity for organizing, grow union power that translates to improved working conditions through collective bargaining. With the foundations that we have already established, we have ambitious plans looking to the future. We can see a lot of opportunities for trade union movement in Central Eastern Europe, and we intend to seize them. And we are looking forward to the next 6th conference to report to you on more growth in membership, more collective agreements, and significant improvements in working conditions. Thank you.
Gracias, Rafael.
Thank you, Rafael. Excellent job. We're now going to look at the results of our poll in a Slido with Jennifer Baker. Jennifer, what was the reply of the representatives?
Votes coming in on the Slido here. We have joint answers here. The question is, consider the main collective bargaining challenges in your sector. Are you primarily engaged in defending, extending, or rebuilding collective bargaining? Joint On 38%, we have defending and extending, and a little bit behind on rebuilding collective bargaining, 24%. However, I will say that I know that certainly not all of you have voted because we have a limited number of votes, and I know that there are hundreds of people joining us online. So I will remind you that to vote in the Slido, it's very simple, very straightforward. Go to slido.com on your phone, on your browser. It's very privacy secure. You don't have to download anything. Just enter the code UNI Europa FWD. It's the same as our social media hashtag. Don't forget to do that as well. Keep those words near you, UNI Europa FWD. And please do get involved, get engaged. I'll be here at the media wall all day again today, reminding you to do that, because I know you all know how to use the hub now. Everyone's an expert after yesterday, but we do want you to join in on Slido so you can answer specific questions. And we do want you to join in on the social media as well. I've got lots more to tell you about that later on. And of course, we have a few other little tips and tricks for you that I'll be showing you throughout the rest of the day. But with that, Pilar, I will hand back to you.
Bien, pues hacer caso a Jennifer y hacerme caso a mí también.
Very good. Well, let's keep our eyes peeled and let's carry on voting, which is important. To carry on, we're going to be listening to the following speakers: Gareth Murphy from Mandate in Ireland, Gareth Murphy, FSU Ireland, and Mika Häkkinen from Finland.
Dear colleagues, there's no legal route available in Ireland for workers to oblige their employers to collectively bargain. Therefore, the only real avenue for workers to bring their employers to the bargaining table is either through the sheer luck of having a very good-natured, amenable employer, or by building their industrial muscle, which they have to be prepared to be ready and use. And this is no easy task. Obviously, there's many challenges in our sector, which is very hostile and anti-union, but there's really no other avenues. We've lost our way to a large extent when we went through a period in Ireland, what was known as national wage setting, called partnership agreements, when workers were not directly collectively bargaining and exercising their industrial muscle. We're working to build that back at the moment. And in companies where we do collectively bargain, we're increasing our efforts to work with members to remain strong and active, engaged, and ultimately prepared to take industrial action. Because there's no guarantees that their employer won't walk away from the negotiating table or, rip up any of the agreements that we have. And in companies where we don't collectively bargain, we work with members to build their union and their power and find ways of keeping pressure on their employer to protect conditions and make gains, even if we're not sitting across from the employer at the negotiating table. As improvements are made in strategic major retail companies, our goal is to carry them through across the whole sector. One thing the union has developed in the last few years with members is a charter for decent jobs in retail as a way of setting out a vision of some of the specific aims where retail workers said they want to be in terms of pay rates, annual leave, entitlements, sick pay, maternity and paternity entitlements. But the charter is accompanied with a clear message and understanding to members and potential members that there can only be one way realistically where this is achieved, and that is through members being prepared to exercise their industrial muscle. Member participation is the key focus, and we are working to empower members to take full ownership of all aspects of their union, including strategizing, recruiting, making decisions, and ultimately taking action.
I'm Gareth Murphy, Head of Industrial Relations at the Financial Services Union here in Ireland. Thank you, UNI, for the conference and the video facilities, and solidarity to all delegates from across Europe. Union recognition and collective bargaining are vital for workers here in Ireland. They bring workers' voice to the workplace. They better balance power between employers and workers in the workplace. They find better solutions and negotiate better pay for workers. FSU is committed to organising workers in new sectors of the economy and expanding collective bargaining and union recognition into new areas. We have started to organise games, big tech and animation workers into our trade union. It's really clear to us that young workers in new sectors want to unionize, and we're here to help and support workers unionize. With the help of UNI's organising team, we have started to train our members in organising in order to build and expand collective bargaining. It isn't easy work, it isn't quick work, but we are in this for the long haul with the help of UNI Union. Thank you.
Arvoisa puheenjohtajisto, hyvät kokousedustajat. Haluan lähettää vakavan viestin eurooppalaisille.
Presidium delegates, I'd like to convey a very severe message to the European trade union movement. As in Finland, we've started now fighting for the future of the Finnish collective bargaining agreement, as that is the way we do it nationally. And the conditions set are not set by the law, but they are set by agreeing sectorally between the employer and employee organizations. And that has been based on high trade union density and a consensus of concluding agreements. Generally speaking, these have brought to the companies flexibility and the employees as well, and also prevented competition. But now two big employee organizations have now announced that they will stop concluding CBAs. So we are losing the common rules of the game, which have secured the minimum level of conditions and pay and right to act in many sectors. And at its worst, next we're going to define the conditions and pay by minima, which is going to lower down our pay by thousands of euros. We started our activities in 2013. We wanted to take the union activities to workplaces. We wanted to support the workers to organize, working together, and not just only solving their own problems. We have made use of the organizing philosophy and different practices in a very versatile manner, and we've developed throughout the years in this. We have worked in organizing in order to make strong union organizations at workplaces and in companies. We have made this to be able to influence the political decision making and the legislators. We've also been more ready to take strike industrial actions if needed. And I believe that the Industrial Union of Finland can also survive in the current struggles. We are starting our organization campaigns on a sectoral basis for the benefit of national collective agreements. And our members can meet employers at an equal footing and secure their pay and working conditions using collective agreements even in future. But at the very end, only organized employees are able to meet the employer when they want to get rid of national agreements. So therefore, I'd like to encourage UNI Europa to invest on organizing. In future, we have to be able to carry out our organizing work, not only at national level, but also at multinational level, also on a sectorial basis, as the companies do not have borders, nor national or transnational borders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Moira, Gareth, and Mika. Collective bargaining, organisation is obviously the basis of trade union work. We can now start the debate, and the first to take the floor will be Elizabeth Sunset from Norway, Son McDonough from Ireland, and Jan Piet from Belgium. Elizabeth, you have the floor.
Kamerata, kollega, comrades, colleagues, organizing is the most important thing we do within the trade union because it's all about to put power behind our demands and give the employees a strong position to get a just and fair labor market. We must oppose the powers who actually exploit workers, and only through strong trade unions can we bring forward the important demands that are we need a salary that we can live of. we should get the right skills at the right time, and we should also not forget the just transition. That's why it's important for us to gain more members that be covered by collective bargaining. But we must also make sure that the legislation is okay. I am very proud to be able to say that all offices in Norway are organized now today, more than ever before. We must make sure that we grow even more. We reach new levels every month, but we're not satisfied yet. We must organize even more workers, especially in our sector. Today, around 20% in our sector are organized in Norway. It is where we see also mainly women working. Many women working part-time, they have a low education and a low wage. But we find it's here we need to strengthen the trade union organizing. So we must find a good strategy for our organizing campaigns, that we can help and support each other, share our experience, and share the good tools, both nationally and within UNI Europe internationally. So I am definitely in favor of motion 1B. Thank you.
Colleagues, Sean McDonough, Deputy General Secretary, CW Ireland. At the outset, I extend the very best wishes to you all. Times. Indeed, the COVID-19 crisis has demonstrated the value of workers and unions leading the way in maintaining essential services, whilst ensuring full protection for workers and the general public alike. It has also confirmed what my fellow countryman Mike Ryan of the World Health Organization has said, that it's not just the virus that is killing people, it's a lack of access to healthcare by the underprivileged in a deeply inequitable society. Our values are not confined to dealing with issues at times of crisis, and we must continue to work tirelessly to vindicate the rights of workers through collective bargaining, a fundamental right that successive Irish governments have denied its citizens. A position that was underpinned by a 2007 Supreme Court judgment known as the Ryanair case. However, I'm happy to say that some progress has been made in the intervening period, including, ironically, union recognition at Ryanair, and there is scope for further optimism. Can I also compliment UNI Europa for proceeding with this conference remotely, embracing and utilising technology to ensure we continue to promote our message and values, advance our cause by sharing our knowledge and experiences. Communication is key. The claim forward to collective bargaining, together with the slogan to reinforce our collective bargaining power, are timely as we prepare for a successful future post-COVID. I salute UNI leadership for promoting this event. The Irish Congress of Trade Unions, which CW Ireland is a very active supporter, developed a policy document entitled No Going Back, a new deal towards a safe and secure future for all. This excellent work in summary advocates for a fair society in which unions are being best placed to deliver on behalf of our members. At its core is a requirement for legislation that ensures the rights to collective bargaining, access to a workplace to organise. It calls for an end to bogus self-employment practices, insecure work arrangements, and the right to a living wage. As alluded to earlier, I am confident the hard work, the endeavours of the collective will advance our cause, and we must not rest until our objectives are achieved. We should not settle for less. With regard to the organising strategy, which I fully support, we must at every level seek to defend, expand, build and rebuild collective bargaining. It's not the panacea for all our issues, though, as we strive to create a strong and successful trade union movement. In our struggle, there are two markets, employers and employees. We must win the hearts and minds of our workers as the power of the collective remains central to recruitment. Workplace activity is key to maintaining membership levels. Workers must see the union as an essential presence in successfully resolving their particular problems. Success depends on commitment, appropriate structures, resources, combined with a determined and relentless focus at all levels. Organising is the top priority, and it is an obligation. To quote Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it's done. Finally, it's appropriate to acknowledge today as International Workers' Memorial Day. Thank you. Stay safe.
Kameraden, met deze tweede dag van het congres.
Dear comrades, on this second Congress Day, we're also getting close to us at the BBTK SETCA as a socialist trade union is the highlight of our year, our Christmas Day, one might say, the 1st of May, International Labour Day. Let me take this opportunity to recall a slogan from the early days: educate, agitate, and unionize. Train, because our visions and interests must be broadly supported, because a collective union consciousness is not built in one fell swoop, because our trade union knowledge is power. Agitate, to practice our trade union rights and freedoms, because circumstances require us to take direct collective action. Organize, because our counterpower lies in numbers. Our strength is to unite workers. Our striking power that makes our collective voice sound loudly, pushing through worker demands in the companies and sectors, on the streets, and now digitally. And that is always on our agenda. We train our activists, reps, and shop stewards extensively. We also wage numerous campaigns to raise awareness in society at large. And we react, agitate again and again with selective strike action, fun activities, concentrations of activists, large demonstrations and strikes. Taking industrial action is in our DNA. Comrades, the segmentation, diversification, Europeanization, and the globalization of our labor markets is our huge challenge. Only by tackling them together, by unifying through diversity, we will get there, locally, nationally, Europe-wide, and globally. Only together are we strong. Please support this motion. Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you very much for these very valuable contributions. We will be hearing from Frédéric Fabreux from Force Ouvrière, Johan Sturknen Stigondin from the Norwegian Society for Engineers and Technologists in Norway. I'm afraid we can't hear Frédéric. There's a bit of a lag. Please bear with us. Dear comrades, my name is Frédéric Favreau from the FEC, FO, president of the unitary sector. Unitary sectors are healthcare workers who have to work in terrible conditions without PPE and indispensable material. They were present in the field. The trade unions were the escape valve that workers turned to. Our action was very important and we were able to obtain a lot of things in terms of working conditions, PPE, wage protection, thanks to collective labor agreement. We have fresh members, which shows how efficacious we were. And why? Because people have refused to listen to us over the years under the pressure of financial markets, the troika and austerity. And they have asphyxiated healthcare systems to cut costs, not enough staff, not enough beds, heavy work burdens, fatigue of workers, the degradation of the quality of healthcare. That was already the situation prior to the pandemic. We have been denouncing this for years. Healthcare isn't a cost. It is good for the whole of society. And the price to pay for relocation of healthcare will be much more costly than taking remedial action afterwards. The coronavirus pandemic shows terribly how right we are. Are they going to listen to us? Doubt it. The Macron government in France during the pandemic continued continued plans to close hospitals. We have ICUs that are saturated. We do not have enough hospital beds. Dear comrades, we'll go have what we'll go and look for. We know where to look for it by mobilizing all our strength, by continuing to impose collective bargaining at all levels, by setting up CLAs for healthcare workers with attractive conditions that respect their rights. Let us not forget that under all circumstances, even the worst that we have just experienced, these are those workers that blow life into your right to receive healthcare, quality healthcare, and benefit from the progress of medicine and science. And this is for the good of workers in the healthcare sector and also in the interest of global workers as well.
Work behind it with the logistics, digitalizing such an event. Okay, I think I can see myself. I was on for a moment.
God dag, kjære venner og fagforeningskollegaer.
Hello, dear friends and colleagues. My name is Johan Sterkesen, and I'm a representative of NATO in Norway. And we have more than 93,000 technologicals in Norway. We would have preferred meeting you all face to face, but this is anyway a very good alternative to discuss in order to try and work out a strategy for the future. The technological development has been very focalized during this pandemic, and this is also going to lead to changes. And as regards this, we have new requirements which regards both recruiting and hiring new members. So our aims are that everybody has a fair share of the good things on the working place. And in order to do that, we have to organize as many people as possible. And the employers have to accept us. In order to reinforce our influence, we have to increase the number of members, and the workers have to realize the value of being a member in a trade union. So our work must be very visible and relevant for potential members. Many professionals and managers are not so familiar with memberships in the trade union. And therefore, I want to ask you all to be inclusive as regards this. I would like to ask UNI Europa to take this seriously. We have to be an inspiration for the development, and at the same time, the negotiation force depends on more and more people organizing. So therefore, I really want to ask the management of UNI Europe to work on this, to make campaigns, because I don't think UNI has done this previously. So my message is that we, all of us, must take this seriously and work systematically in order to increase the membership number. We must help each other. We must share good ideas and proposals. So as regards the forthcoming campaign, I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen. And I thank you so much for inviting me to speak.
Well, it was great work. We're doing pretty well despite the life circumstances. And you have contributed with comments, questions, and opinions via Slido. Jennifer, could you please give us a bit of an insight on what delegates have been saying?
More action happening now today, particularly on social media. I want to first draw your attention to Twitter here, because we have published here on Social Europe. It is Olivier Roting's opinion on public procurement, ending the race to the bottom on workers' conditions. You can find that there, published on Twitter, but also published on Social Europe. So do go and check that out. We have a couple of other interesting tweets. Gareth Murphy saying with collective bargaining, we have higher the wages, better the pensions, shorter the working time, greater the equality, and the better the public services. We also have John Burns in referencing our Slido poll saying we have to defend collective bargaining, extend collective bargaining, and rebuild collective bargaining. I think the point being that it shouldn't be one or the other. Turning back now to our big platform here, the hub of this week's event. I do want you to keep an eye on it. We have here a comment from Camille Renard saying, bravo, Frederick. The social situation in France is terrible. We have to do a lot to restore what successive governments have destroyed in social, medical, cultural, trade union, and human rights terms. So a lot of comments, a lot of interesting thoughts coming in. But before I hand back, I just want to quickly draw your attention once again to the other things you can do on this hub. The exhibition stands are here. If you have to scroll down to find them, please do go and find them. I'll be showing you a little bit more about some of the tools you have there for setting up meetings with people a little bit later on. But that's it for now. I'm going to hand the floor back to you, Pilar.
Muchas gracias, Jennifer. Y a
Thank you,
continuación.
Jennifer. And now we're going to listen to Florentin Lancu from the SITT in Romania and a member of the UNI Europe Executive Committee, who will be drawing some conclusions from our first proceedings session this morning. You have the floor.
Thank you, Pilar, and good morning, everyone. I think it's been a really remarkable session. One of the motto of our conference is that collective bargaining is at the core of democratic societies and social progress. Still, nowadays we see that in a world dominated by neoliberal thinking, collective bargaining is under attack, social justice is under attack, and with inequality rising and extreme right fraction rising, we see democracy is under attack. We saw today that we can be proud to see that in UNI we have fought back, and we have fought back really hard to expand, defend, and rebuild collective bargaining. In the past years, strengthening collective bargaining has been at the core of UNI's visions, strategies for strengthening trade unions with a clear objective to put us in a better position for sectoral bargaining. There is no doubt that significant victories have been achieved, and we must continue to build on those. For this, organizing has top priority. At this point, all across Europe, we see that in some parts, collective bargaining is under attack and needs defending. In other parts, there is a massive need to rebuild collective bargaining, even by rebuilding the trade union movement in itself. I want to thank all of the colleagues for sharing with us some of the most important organizing efforts that were done in the past years. We have seen that in some parts, we have helped build collective bargaining capacity like Poland or Czech Republic, or help defend and rebuild collective bargaining like in the UK, Ireland, or Finland or Germany. The key message from all of the speakers is that with effective organizing campaigns, we can build strong unions and we can strengthen collective bargaining. Now with Motion 1B, we aim to be even more ambitious and continue to focus on our organizing efforts. It aims to empower affiliates with an approach with two types of actions: transversal, by capacity building of our affiliates, and geographically focused via our organizing center across Europe. Dear colleagues, it's clear that we are on the right track. We have a clear and strong plan with concrete objectives. Let's support it and let's move forward through collective bargaining. Thank you very much.
Gracias, Florentin, por
Thank you, Florentin, for this excellent summary of this very successful first session. We shall now proceed to vote on motion 1B. Please vote now in favor, against, or abstain, should you wish to abstain.
Thank you. While you are voting, let me now show you, as I promised, some of the tools here at our disposal. As I said, you can scroll down the panel on your left-hand side and find the exhibition stands. You can see here we've got the affiliate unions, partners, and so on. Let's give you an example. So let's try Eurofound. Here we can see that there's a page telling you about them. You've got links, you've got contact information. But right down at the bottom, we can see here the representatives. Now, if you click on times, you will see there the available times when you can set up a chance to talk to David or Peter or Tina or whoever you want there. And you can do that for all of the exhibition stands. The time is there for you to meet and set a slot aside to talk to people who have interesting things to tell you. Really trying to bring that virtual networking to you, because even though we don't have it in person, we are trying to make this a really, really interactive event. So please do that. If you want to go back to home, all you do is click back up here, takes you back to your homepage, where of course there is this all important join the conversation. I'm urging you to please do that. Send us your thoughts, your comments, send me jokes, send things to keep us interested, send us what you want us to link to. We'd really want to hear that. Also, if you're having trouble finding your voting, I know some people are still getting to terms with the technology. We're in a new world now. You can click up here on notifications, and if you are allowed to vote, you will see here vote now, and you can click on that so that it allows you to click through and cast your vote. I'm not going to do it now, but there you go. Motion B, organising. And organising is, of course, the theme of today. So make sure you look out for that. We will have also got more things happening in the exhibition area that I will tell you about later on. In the meantime, please do keep sharing your thoughts and comments on social media. And while you're on social media, please do use that hashtag UNI Europa FWD, UNI Europa forward. As we can see, plenty of things happening, 20 plus notifications here for me. So I guess everyone is really using it. Who knows, we might even get this trending across Belgium today. That's what we would like to see. So lots and lots of comments, lots and lots of thoughts. And I think we may be getting the results from that vote in very, very shortly. So I won't take up too much more of your time. I will hand back to Pilar now. Have we got results in?
Perfecto. No. No.
a digital action happening today. That's around the area, of course, the theme of this whole week's event on collective bargaining. Now, normally in a real world event, people would gather together, there would be a demonstration, there would be a lot of opportunity for people to take photographs, see what's happening, and really make a noise and get attention. But this year, because of the virtual nature of the event, we're going to have to do it online. So you keep an eye out for that. That's going to be happening a little bit later on this afternoon.
Bueno, pues nos acaban de pasar el resultado.
Thank you. We have just received the results of the vote on motion 1B, and it has been adopted. All right, well, we have come to the end of this first session. Before a short break, I'd like to share with you a historic moment as we witness Florentine Janku, Christy Hoffman, and Oliver Ruddick sign the foundation of the Southeast European Organising Centre.
No.
I don't need the pen. And through the magic of this virtual event, here it is, the signed document from Romania to Brussels. We are going forward now with our second organizing center in Central and Eastern Europe. Thank you all together, and let's move forward to make organizing a difference and build up our trade unions in Southeast Europe.
Bueno, pues enhorabuena a los tres.
Congratulations to the three of you for signing this foundation document. We're going to have a short break, a 15-minute break. So we shall resume proceedings in 15 minutes.
Collective bargaining is crucial.